What's up, Clock Dodgers? It's your host, Neal. Of course, if you've been listening, you already know that. But if you're new, number one, welcome. Number two, thank you for joining us. Number three, we hope to not disappoint, which we will not. We will not disappoint you, I promise you. If you don't know what this is, if you're like, what is Clock Dodgers? What is this about? Number one, we're nothing to do with the Los Angeles Dodgers, although that confusion does happen sometimes. Nothing to do with it, I promise you. Although we may talk about them from time to time. What we do basically is we're joined by individuals from all walks of life as guests on the show. Typically, we discuss any and everything. There's really no one set topic or niche that we're going to discuss, right? It's all over the board. We have episodes that are just about fantasy football, some that are inside glances into these individuals' lives. Sometimes I just rant like I'm doing right now. But the main goal is to help you dodge the 9-to-5 mindset, hence Clock Dodgers. It's, through conversation, entertainment, just inspiration, plain old take your mind off of things for the moment that you're in, whatever it is. This is a Clock Dodgers family, and we all have a reason why we're here. You don't got to explain it. We're all welcome. You don't need an ID, a passport, a pass card, any kind of identification. You're just welcome. The guest that I have on today, I'm super excited about. The conversation was about roughly, I want to say like 30 minutes long, maybe. The gentleman is Neal from the Sleeperbot app. He's CEO, one of the co-founders of the app. Obviously, he's a busy guy. So I had to catch him while he's driving in his car, in between doing one thing and another thing. So basically, I tried to get a hold of him when I could. And this was a perfect conversation. It was awesome. But the main thing that, if you take anything away from this conversation, he dropped a bunch of gems. So just pay attention. Actually, just pay attention to all of it. There's a lot of good stuff in here. And I appreciate him for coming on. He's been super supportive of Clock Dodgers, whether it's on the Sleeperbot app, whether it's just having conversations with him on the phone outside of the podcast here today. He's just a super good dude, and it's a lot of good people behind Sleeperbot. And I say that because in business in general, in fantasy football, in apps, and all this kind of stuff in the space that they're in, sometimes you have people who are not helpful, right? They feel your competition, and they are not the greatest support system to have. But he's a good dude. The people behind Sleeperbot besides him are all good people, and they have a good community over there. It's a fun app. When you listen, you'll hear they got some big plans coming out that I wasn't even aware of before speaking to him. He just kind of dropped it on me. And he said it's the first place he's dropped that information. So we're excited here at Clock Dodgers to be sharing that information with you. So again, thank you to Nan. Good dude. Took the time out of his day that he could. The audio is like I said, he's on the phone in his car. So just kind of bear with that. We tried our best to make it happen as clean as possible, but there's a lot of gems he's dropping in here. Fun conversation, good stuff. So definitely pay attention to that. For extra content outside of the podcast, please visit clockdodgers.com. Bookmark that bad boy on your iPhone, wherever you're searching the internet, and check it out. We got a lot of good contributors there. More coming if you're interested in contributing. Actually. Maybe, you want to write about fantasy football or about entertainment, pop culture, movies, TV reviews, Netflix shows, mowing your lawn. I really don't care what it is, because there's always somebody who wants to hear what you got to say. So hit me up, clockdodgers@gmail.com, or just hit me up on Twitter or Instagram @clockdodgers on either one. We'll talk. Even if it's your first time ever writing, you just want to write, or you want to contribute another way, feel free to reach out. That's what we're about here. It's just kind of the thing we're doing, guys. So just reach out. Don't feel any pressure, but definitely check it out. Also, t-shirts for sale right now. Go to clockdodgers.com. They're up there right now for not much longer. By the time you hear this, it may be down already. Who knows? But if you're hearing it right away when it's released, there's probably like 5 more days left. 75% of the proceeds go to charity, which you can read all that on the website. But please go on there, get yourself a shirt. We also sell wristbands, Clock Dodger wristbands, which you can check out as well. And just kind of look out. There's a lot of new stuff popping up on there every day. So just kind of come back every day, check out, see what we got going. If you're not already following us on social media, please do. Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, all those good things. Everything is at Clock Dodgers, so it's easy to find us. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, please do. If you haven't left a review, please do. It helps out dramatically with us getting new listeners and people finding out about what we're doing here. So 5 stars, leave a review. If you're a 1-star kind of reviewer, hey, it's whatever, you know. You want to leave the 1 star, leave the damn 1 star. Whatever you want to do. I prefer you not, but hey, if that's what you're feeling like doing, hey, whatever floats your boat, my friend. Whatever floats your boat. Just know karma. No, I'm joking. Just joking. Do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? Listen, guys, I don't want to hold us off anymore on this episode. We got some big things coming, though. I will tell you that. We got some big things coming. Big things coming. Be on the lookout. I promise you. All positive energy over here, guys. Let's do this. Let's go into the conversation I had with Nan, CEO of Sleeperbot. If you haven't already registered on their app, please do so. Get on there, become a part of that community, support it, do whatever you can. Listen, this is what we do, guys. We support it. We support each other. Clock Dodger fam. Let them know what's up. Clock Dodger fam. That's how we roll. Let's get into the episode, guys. See you on the other end.
Cannot play with him. Cannot win with him. Cannot coach with him. Can't do it.
You play to win the game.
I mean, listen, we talking about practice. Not a game. Not a game. Not a game. We talking about practice.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Touchdown!
You are now locked in to the Clock Dodgers podcast.
Clock Dodgers Podcast.
So I'm excited to finally get a chance to chat with my guest today. You guys, know at Clock Dodgers, we have a diverse group of guests that come on the show, but sometimes I like to bring on guests who are hustlers, go-getters, guys that have taken a passion or an idea and really capitalized on it. My guest today is a guy who, through a handful of talks that I've had with him personally, he's shown me he's not just a guy who's about his business, but also someone who cares about the growth of everyone around him. I'd like to welcome to the Clock Dodgers podcast the CEO of Sleeperbot. Man, welcome.
Thank you very much, Neal. Glad to be on here.
Absolutely.
Really, an honor to be able to speak to the group of Clock Dodgers because it's a wonderful podcast.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate that. And, me and you have spoken, a handful of times, like I said, and I always appreciated, the way you are towards Sleeperbot itself, but also towards everyone around you that, you work with. So many of the listeners today know, obviously, what Sleeperbot is because they use it. We talk a lot of fantasy football here, so they're all pretty familiar with it. But for those who don't, it just in a really quick kind of way, I guess, can you describe what exactly it is that you've built here with Sleeperbot?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the quick elevator pitch for Sleeperbot is that it's a community for fantasy sports fans. We provide a messaging layer and a chat platform for people to talk about fantasy sports-related injury and news, but also for folks to seek out advice from the broader community. Our long-term goal, obviously, is to become a messaging platform and a social platform for all sports, not just fantasy football, but expanding into basketball and baseball and kind of more broader sports and beyond just the fantasy aspect of it. We're planning to launch a lot more features this year and expand.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, and so, like I said, what kind of always interests me, obviously the app has a lot of different layers to it. You have the community part where you can ask questions. You have guys dropping breaking news. You got the private messaging system. You have all these different layers to it and all kinds of reward systems and stuff to obviously get guys involved. What always kind of interests me, though, with stuff like this, obviously straight out the gate, when it comes to something like where you've created this community and this app and this, this system you built basically, is what started this? Was there like a certain moment? Was it an idea? Was this like a well planned out thing? Like how did this all come together basically?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. There's actually three of us on the team, so I'm one of three co-founders. My other co-founder, Wade, she has actually been building products in fantasy sports space since 2009. So I think one of his first products that he released was basically a mock draft board and a tier sheet software for the web. Initially, he was building it for his family and friends, but I think somehow it got surfaced in some of the smaller discussion forums on Draft Sharks at the time, or maybe like Roto Grinders, Roto World. But fantasy sports fans kind of found his draft board through those forums and really started asking him to build more tools and widgets. And so over the course of the next couple of years, he informally was putting together basically just kind of at the request of other fans, different tools to help people win their season-long leagues. It was done as a hobby and in his spare time, so he was a game engineer here at Silicon Valley. But when he would come home from work, he would just hammer together code to really work on stuff that he was really passionate about in the fantasy sports space. And so Sleeperbot came out of that. The term sleeper, obviously, fantasy sports fantasy, means undiscovered talent, right, or hidden gems.
Right.
And thought is basically, because of our technology and our legacy, we do a lot of algorithmic discovery of sleepers and news and alerts and all that kind of stuff. And so combined, we came up with that name. I joined actually in 2014, really just to kind of spearhead the growth of Sleeperbot. So through the various tools that he put together, he had mapped a couple thousand users. Nothing significant, but we saw a huge opportunity in really just building a better product and a better experience for fantasy sports fans out there. I'm a diehard fantasy sports player myself. Our third co-founder, Ken, is also. And all of us have been playing in the same league since about 2002. So, one, we were frustrated with our current experience, and two, we saw an opportunity to use our expertise and our, skills to be able to try to tackle these problems head on and build what we really wanted to do.
Right. That's very cool. That's awesome that you guys have been in a league that long too. Like I said, you obviously are building something, pretty special here, and it's been fun, I'm sure, on your side to kind of, watch it grow and develop it and everything. I'm all about goals, and I've said that before here on the podcast. And I know with, obviously you guys have already reached a certain level of success. That's pretty evident. But, what is the future for you guys as far as, through your eyes, what do you envision?
That's a really good question. I think, logically for us, the next step is to actually offer a season-long league where, fans on our platform can actually play against each other. We've heard, this being requested as a feature from numerous people already. We started off by thinking into ESPN, Yahoo, and NFL League, where people could just see their rosters. But we were hearing the feedback of our own users saying, why can't we just kind of manage our league internally within Sleeperbot and just do everything all in one app? And so the immediate next step for us is to address that request, right? So this year we're actually launching our own Sleeperbot season-long league management software, really to go head-to-head against Yahoo, ESPN, and NFL.
Wow, that's awesome.
Our focus, so we've been working a lot on this over the off-season, and the guys have been burning the midnight oil trying to make sure the features are polished. Performance is just kind of far superior to existing products. And our focus is going to be very different, right? So with Sleeperbot League this year, we're going to try to go after the market in a little bit of a different fashion. One common thread for everything we do at Sleeperbot is we make it social, right? Whether it's news, whether it's player alerts, whether it's stats, every part of Sleeperbot basically allows you to discuss with other fans. And our core thesis is that sports are just more enjoyable when you're able to converse with other people, whether it's your family or your friends or your coworkers. And so with the league that we're launching this year, it's going to be built directly onto the messaging platform, so that anytime you do a draft, you can smash talk to your friends. Anytime you have a matchup, you can basically discuss on game day all the implications of all the scoring plays and all that kind of stuff. And when you process the trade, you don't have to jump off platform and go onto like an iMessage or an email system to be able to do that.
Right.
So everything's going to be housed right on the app, and we're going to make it easy. You have to set up a league, so league creation will be under a minute, and the entire season, the focus of the interactions will be on making it more social and more fun and more engaging.
Wow. So that's pretty huge. I had no idea you guys were doing this. As far as that goes, will it all be on the same app, or are you talking about a totally separate app?
It'll all be on the same app, and this is basically the first time I'm telling anyone, so I guess the vote from Clock Dodgers for it first.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate that. I mean, I didn't even know you were breaking this news here. So that's awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah, that is great. That's exciting because, like you said, you guys already had some features as far as with people's leagues and kind of seeing their rosters and stuff, but this is a whole nother level. So that's pretty exciting, man. That's pretty exciting stuff. And when do you guys have a timeline for when you think it'll be released?
Yeah, we're going to do early beta testing in July, and so if any of the Clock Dodgers users want to get access to the early beta, just message me on the app. I'm @Soberfield, and I'll try to get you guys an invite. So we'll allow you guys to start mock drafting and doing league setup on that, as early as probably mid-July.
Wow.
Designs are already taking hold. It's starting to look really polished. And we're excited to launch it to the broader community.
Yeah, I'm excited for that because it's always obvious, with your app, that you guys are very, you guys take a lot of time to just how everything looks, how it runs, how it moves. It's smooth. So I'm looking forward to that. That's exciting. As far as, we've kind of painted the picture of what Sleeperbot is, and obviously some big news that's coming out. I always say it's important to know the people that are behind it, though. And that's why, I got such a good vibe when I spoke with you previously. And I thought it'd be good to let, the listeners and the Clock Dodgers out there know, who you were and who's behind it. I don't want to get deep, obviously, or personal as far as that goes, but I always just think it's good to connect the people, from the brand and kind of get on a human level. What before Sleeperbot, you said you joined in 2014. What is like your background though? Like, what did you do before you became this CEO of Sleeperbot?
Yeah, so I was actually an investor. So I did private equity investing out of Hong Kong.
Okay.
I was a former college rugby player and went out to Hong Kong in 2009 to watch a big rugby tournament called Rugby Sevens, and a couple of my teammates were playing in that tournament, as well as my former college coach, who was I think the head coach of the U.S. Sevens team at the time. And so I went there for one night. Really had so much fun that I fell in love with the city. Came back to the States, and I quit my job that I was currently at, and moved out there. And spent 5.5 years out in Hong Kong doing investments all around the Asia region.
Wow.
Before coming back and joining forces with my co-founder Wei Shi. So Wei Shi and I got to know each other really as we're childhood friends, and we've known each other since we were 5 years old. Our parents grew up together. They were grad students together at Washington State University. And Wei Shi and I really, ever since we were young, were huge sports fans. I mean, his favorite player is Dan Marino, Joe Montana. And we had a lot of back and forth during our younger days about which was better quarterback. And then as we got older, my family moved away. So I moved out to Michigan and then New York. And his family moved over to Western Washington. And so we did lose touch, but every single year, the one thing that kind of kept us together was that renewal of the Student Fantasy League, which allowed us to kind of renew our friendship and our interactions around that. And so, that's a huge part of who we are. We started off playing on Yahoo, obviously, and in the early days. And over the course of time, as we've kind of grown, She went into engineering here in the Bay Area, and I went my separate ways to do finance out in Asia. And when I came back here for Christmas, and I saw what he was doing for on the side of the hobby for his fantasy sports school, we put our heads together and said, wait, why don't we start something and try to actually tackle the larger opportunity in season long and go after Yahoo, ESPN, and NFL directly. And this was right at the same time that a lot of the startups were starting to pop up, trying to imitate DraftKings and FanDuel on the DFS side, right? And so we looked at the opportunity at the other side of the coin and said, well, season long is much bigger, it's stickier, it's more social. We think that actually is a bigger opportunity, and it's what we love to do and what we think we can have out of it. Our third co-founder is a gentleman named Ken, also a really big fan of TV player. His favorite sports are football and basketball. He was an engineer at Vivo, which basically does the video distribution for YouTube videos. I'm sure you've seen the Vivo ads last all over YouTube.
Nice.
But Ken is also just kind of a friend, and all three of us really started working on Sleeperbot without really any salary. We put our own money into the business and kind of bootstrapped it. Luckily, about a year into it, we were able to raise a little bit of capital from family and friends, which has allowed us to kind of continue to operate. Obviously, we don't make money yet on the app, really. We've kept the app really, really clean, and the user experience has been something that we focused a lot on. So we've avoided cluttering the app with ads. We didn't want to be too spammy. Really, it's just trying to create the product that we would use. And so we've kind of been fortunate enough that our friends and family have supported us and allowed us to do that without having to force hideous ads down on our users.
Right. Yeah, and that's awesome. And that's a cool aspect in, I guess, just in the fantasy football and fantasy sports world in general, is that, people are super supportive of each other, and, you can always count on people to kind of help you out, or, do whatever they can to kind of help each other, and I know you were the same way when I spoke to you about even getting the podcast, so I could post the links and stuff on Sleeperbot. You're like, I don't want nothing from you, and just create good content, put it on there, help each other out, so I've always appreciated that. We've spoken about, where you guys started from and where you're at now. What motivates you personally each day, to just keep improving, with the app itself or just in general?
My biggest motivation is just hearing positive feedback from our user base. So one of the stories that I can share with you is that last year there was a user on Sleeperbot that was going through a battle with Lyme disease. And there were a bunch of guys who came together to create a podcast to really support fundraising efforts to help with his treatment. And I got an email from his dad, a couple weeks after that, and he basically said, "Thank you for putting together this community because it offers an escape for my son as he's going through these treatments, and it helps him get through the day." And it's stuff like that that really gets me going. Just hearing that positive feedback from the user base and knowing that we actually have made a difference. And that's also how I kind of tended to operate from a personal philosophy perspective, is just try to help others whenever you can. And so when you approached me to see if I could help out with Clock Dodgers, I was more than happy to. Because more often than not, especially in fantasy, you find a lot of players in the market who are just really defensive about their businesses, right, or about their websites or their users. And that's not really how you should approach the fantasy sports market, because at the end of the day, fantasy sports is social, it's a community. If you do right by the users, they'll support you in spades, and that's kind of how we operated Sleeperbot from a philosophy perspective, and we've been really, really lucky that our users have shown us a tremendous amount of support.
Absolutely, yeah, and that is awesome. And the podcast you were talking about was the guys at Sleeper Wire, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, shout out to those guys for sure. They're actually the reason I first was introduced to you, so shout out to them for sure. As far as others out there who may be as ambitious as you guys are and have passions like you guys and these ideas, and they want to take them to the next level, what is one piece of advice that you would give those people who are have an idea or a passion like you guys did and want to make it a real thing like you guys have?
Yeah, I think I would give two pieces of advice that have really helped us. Number one is don't chase trends. And specifically what I mean by that is, we had the decision to make when we started of whether we should try to go after the daily fantasy sports space or if we should focus on season long. And the hottest item at that time was DFS. And so it's been really easy for us to go out and try to do a DFS offering and raise a lot of money to be able to support that, right? Because that's what investors wanted. But at the end of the day, that's not what users wanted, right? So don't chase the trend. Try to do something that you're really passionate about and that you actually want to do, right? Don't let capital dictate what your business should be.
For sure.
And second, I would say just don't give up. I think with any startup, you're going to go through ups and downs, right? It's a roller coaster. You're going to have really, really good days where things all click on all cylinders, and you think you're on top of the world, and then you're going to have struggles, right? So for us, we had a day last year where we sent out, I think it was like thousands of push notifications at 4 a.m. on a Sunday, and we thought we'd lost our entire user base.
Oh, wow.
Right? And it's super demoralizing, and you'll run into issues throughout the process of building a startup. And you have to make sure that you and your team are all aligned, that you will fight through it at all costs, right? And you will continue to do it because it's passion and it's your actual personal interests that are fueling the startup and no other reason other than that. And so that's really helpful for us at Sleeperbot, because obviously there's been hiccups along the road, but we've kept our head down and we continue to run through these obstacles. And if you look back at the start of when drafting the FanDuel really, really brought a lot of attention to the fantasy sports market, almost every single startup that has tried to do daily fantasy sports has died.
Right.
And, more fantasy sports have died, and we're still around. And because we've been really scrappy and we're actually doing it because we love it. Even if we ran out of our last penny of savings, we'd still be working on it because we think the product will do this.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me to something I wanted to ask you was, when it comes to something like this, like Sleeperbot or any business at all, especially, as a startup, would you agree that, kind of the biggest or most important investment you'll make is like the team around you?
Absolutely. That is 100% true. I think one of the most often cited reasons why startups fail is because of founder breakups, right? Misalignment of interest, somebody not getting their fair share and thinking that they're owed more. For us, I've been really lucky in that we've been, we've approached it as friends and not as business partners, right? So for us, this is a hobby, and that's been super helpful. But it's also the folks that we're surrounding ourselves with have a tremendous amount of trust in each other, and so I think that goes a long way. There's nothing that can really replace that.
Yeah. That is impressive. I mean, as far as that is concerned, when it comes to putting that team around you, is there really any way to figure it out to put a perfect team around you, or is it kind of trial and error, you think? As far as, I mean, because you can't tell a person until you actually go through it with them, right?
Yeah, it's really hard to just hire. So I mean, there's a lot of people, and I'm guilty of this as well. A lot of folks that have really strong business acumen, or I mean, I guess I don't have that strong a business acumen. There's other people that do, or have a really great product idea, and they're looking to hire engineers, right? And they have to look outside of their own personal networks to be able to hire. That in and of itself is super risky, because the person you're hiring purely for skill, and not for necessarily, I guess, cultural or philosophical fit. Because it's really hard to gauge that until you actually go through some of the downturns in a business cycle, and you really don't know what the true colors of a person are. So if possible, I think what I would advise for all startup founders is to learn how to code yourself. Right? So I took it upon myself to learn a little bit of Python so that I could contribute to the team, and work with them in the trenches. And I think when you're interviewing potential engineers, this also helps you gain respect. Right, it shows that you're trying to understand what they offer and what they bring to the table. And you're not just kind of somebody who's hiring them to fill a role, but you're actually a partner for the long term. And then finally, I think if you're actually looking to hire an engineer, just start networking and try to meet people through your own network. Right, don't do a cold posting on Monster.com, but rather, be scrappy and try to attend conferences or meet friends that might know somebody, because a personal referral goes a long way.
Right, absolutely. Well, I mean, I know, you're kind of strapped for time. I appreciate you, giving me some of that time to let us kind of, pull the blinds a little bit behind the Sleeperbot whole app and everything, and kind of see human interaction here, and you're also very interactive on the app itself, so obviously everyone gets that interaction too. But I just like to hear that human interaction in your voice, and just kind of see what's going on behind the scenes, and obviously some exciting updates, which is very cool. Before I let you go though, can you first kind of tell people where they can find you? I don't know, as far as if there's any emails or Twitter handles or anything beside, or the app tag, just anywhere that people can find you to kind of talk with you one-on-one, or anything to interact with you?
Sure, yeah. On the app itself, I'm Toberpeel, Tobrepels, which is Sleeperbot backwards.
That's awesome.
And you can also email me at nan@sleeperbot.com, nan@sleeperbot.com.
Okay. And for anybody that wants to support what you guys are doing, is the best thing to do just get on there, register, and be as active as possible?
Yep, and tell your friends. Invite your friends onto the league. This year it's going to be awesome. So we're bringing back the draft board. We're making it more social. It's just going to be much more immersive, much more interactive, a better product on mobile. So start ditching ESPN, Yahoo, CBS, and NFL, and jump on a Sleeperbot.
That's awesome. And see, I love that you guys are taking on everything like that. I mean, that's why I say your ambition. I love it, man, and your passion behind it, and like I said, your humbleness as far as connecting with everybody. I always like to let our guests kind of close out the episode as far as maybe is there a message you can leave our listeners with? Anything at all? I know we've covered a lot here in this small period of time, but is there any kind of message you can leave everybody with? It could be funny, it could be advice, it could be anything you want. Just if they walk away with one thing, they hear this and remember this.
Yeah, I think the one thing I would say is just don't be afraid to take on big problems. And this goes back to, I think you just mentioned, going after NFL, Yahoo, ESPN. A lot of people would just look at it and say, well, these guys are huge, they're well capitalized, it's going to be impossible for you to compete. And don't let anybody tell you can't compete, right? And this goes to the heart of what sports is all about. Right, there's underdogs in every room, and the underdogs sometimes come out on top. So, dream big, chase after your dreams, and good luck with everything you guys are aspiring for.
That's awesome, man.
And if you do want to give me some advice on building a startup, don't hesitate to shoot me an email or find me on the app.
Absolutely. Yeah, you are definitely super accessible. I appreciate that. I know you're in your car, you're driving, you're in between places. So I mean, I can't thank you enough for spending time with me for a quick minute here to kind of talk a little bit and share some of your your ideas and some of these big plans that you guys are doing. I really appreciate it. I love what you guys have with the app. You guys are great people behind it, and so I look forward to just keep continuing to support what you guys are doing, man.
No problem. Keep up the good work at Clock Dodgers, Neal.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
All right.
Have a good day, man. Thank you. Did you guys see what I'm talking about? Did you guys see what I'm talking about? That is a good dude right there, man. And the dude has some gems. You better been taking notes. If you have a passion, if you have something you want to do, I mean, I express it all the time on here, but I think he helped get it across as well. Just go out there and do it, guys. Don't be afraid. Take on whatever obstacles in front of you and conquer it. Thank you again, Tanan, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. It meant a lot. It was good to get that conversation out there for you guys so you can kind of see what's going on in the back scene of things. There's people behind these apps, guys. There's people behind these brands. We need that human connection. It's a good thing. It's a beautiful thing. So I appreciate you guys for sticking it out. I want to give a shout out to @2drinkminimum for winning the contest for the coffee mug, the Clock Dodgers official coffee mug. He won the contest. We'll continue to do more contests. Shout me out. Hit me up on any of the social media apps. Let me know if you guys have any ideas, maybe something you want to see us do next. I'm all ears. I'm all ears. If you guys have any ideas on anything that you want to see us do next as far as contests are concerned, or anything like that, please hit me up. Don't forget, guys, shirts are on sale. Not much longer. This is your chance to get a Clock Dodger family shirt, guys. Be a part of the family, represent it where you're at, but at the same time, you're helping charity. The charity is for the Brain and Behavior Research Fund. It goes towards those. They basically fund research for things like depression, PTSD, addiction, anxiety. Those kind of things sometimes are hard for people to talk about, and they're a huge issue in our country. So something like this, although it may be a small donation to that charity, anything helps. So 75% of the profits of these shirts go to that. The other 25% do go back into Clock Dodgers to help support these contests that we do and help get things made and help get contributors and help, get upgrades to the software and the programs and the hardware and all that kind of stuff. So I appreciate it either way. If you don't even order a shirt, please at least share it. Share the link, tell people about it. There's definitely people out there who want to contribute. So we'll keep doing things like these as well with different charities. So if you have any suggestions on charities or people you think we could help, et cetera, reach out. The main thing I'm trying to say here is, guys, reach out to me. Reach out. Follow on Twitter. Subscribe to the podcast so you get the episodes as soon as they drop, especially for things like contests. See, this is why it's important to subscribe, because when those contests come out, you better believe the people who are getting those episodes first and winning those prizes are the people who are subscribed, because they know the episode is dropping first. So definitely subscribe to the podcast. Leave a review if you are kind enough. It's greatly appreciated, as always. Otherwise, like I said, guys, just follow us on the social media apps. You guys know where to find us. Shout out to everybody who does contribute. On ClockDodgers.com, I always like to give a quick shout out to those guys at 2drinkminimum, at Swagzilla, at Adam. Who else we got out there? Eddie. Eddie's always on there. Josh. There's guys all over the place, man. There's guys who have, contributed here and there. Maybe not as consistently, but they contribute. So shout out to those guys. I'm trying to think if, those are some of the latest articles that are up there. I'm trying to think what's the latest stuff to drop on there that I would recommend you go check out. Obviously, if you're doing fantasy drafts or rookie drafts or dynasty league drafts, you want to check out 2 Drink Minimum's fresh meat articles. You want to check out Swagzilla's census rankings. You want to check out a bunch of these things. Don't miss out. My boy Eddie's always dropping some interesting articles. Some good stuff on there. And like I said, if you're interested in contributing along with these guys and you want to come along with Clock Dodgers for the ride and contribute in some way, writing articles, whatever it may be, reach out to me. Let's make some stuff happen. Let's make some greatness happen. Let's be great. It's important, guys. It's important. I have another big guest lined up for later in the week. I think we'll be recording that podcast, I want to say, on Friday. So that podcast won't likely come out till Monday. But it's another big guest on Friday. We may get some people in between there. I'm not sure. But I'm always striving to get you guys some interesting guests. So just be on the lookout for more episodes. Remember, guys, the most important thing you could do for Clock Dodgers, if you love this family and love what it represents, is to share it. Just share it. That's all you gotta do. Retweet something, tell a friend, tell a coworker, tell a cousin, tell anybody. Instead of flicking somebody off in a road rage incident, don't throw them the middle finger. Don't say, hey, fuck you, buddy. Don't do that. Just say, hey, ClockDodgers.com. Subscribe to the podcast. They won't shoot at you for that. You won't get shot at. You won't have to deal with none of that kind of craziness. It'll just be a nice, little interaction. They'll be like, oh, wow, thank you. We appreciate it. I don't hate you anymore. Oh, man. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Again, shout out to everybody who supports this, who is a part of this, who is along for the ride. I love you guys. I mean that from the bottom of my heart, from the inner soul. I mean it. Clock Dodgers, be great, be kind, keep dodging.
Visit ClockDodgers.com for more unique content. Connect with us now by following at Clock Dodgers on Twitter, Instagram, and Periscope.